This is the Doctor, President-elect of the High Council of Time Lords.
I am definitely a madman with a box.
Anyone for jelly, baby?
I'm the Doctor. I'm 904 years old. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Castabras.
Hey Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 38. We have a packed show for you this week.
Certainly have, yeah. Bursting at the seams.
We're bursting, mate. The Tardis is full.
That's it.
We're going to run through some interesting news stuff for you. And then we're going to run into our first Q&A, which is cool.
Yeah, looking forward to that. We're kind of doing it on the hop a bit, aren't we? We haven't sort of looked at the questions too much. We're just going to read them or play the clip and go straight in there. So
yes, exactly. We're not going to premeditate too much. I want to be honest with you guys. So we're just going to read them through. We've got some really cool audio clips and some video clips that you guys sent through as well, which is awesome.
It is, yeah. It's always good to hear our listeners' voices.
Yeah, it's cool. And then we're going to run into our review of the Time Meddler.
Give me your best Hartnell.
One day I shall come back. Yes, one day. He's very old school.
Not bad, dear boy.
My dear boy. Yes.
Cool, isn't he?
Oh, he's very cool. Okay, so how have you been, mate, last week?
I've been good. Yes, I've been good. I've been listening to a little bit more Dark Eyes 4.
Oh, cool.
I'm halfway through that. Really enjoying it. And yeah, I've been enjoying the sunshine. I've got the shorts on because it's been lovely. So yes, I'm all good. How about you?
Pretty much the same, minus the Dark Eyes 4 bit.
Oh, right.
Yes. What have I been up to? Not a lot, really. I've been sorting out my. This is really very boring and quite anal, probably for a lot of you. It's I've been sorting out my DVD my classic Who's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because when I've been buying them, I've just been shoving them on the shelf, and I've run into a bit of a conundrum.
What's that?
A bit of a quandary. When you buy a box set of the classic Who stuff.
Oh yeah.
It kind of messes with your order a little bit, doesn't it?
Oh,
because
it does.
I'm sure lots of our listeners will have gone through this this pain as I have,
yes.
Because I kind of thought, right, am I going to sort it into Doctor order, or am I going to do it in chronological order? So I thought, right, I'll do it in Doctor order. So I'll start with Hartnell, and work through and group them all together per Doctor.
Yeah,
which was great, but then the box sets, when you get the 3 DVDs, it's like, so what do you do? Do you keep them in the box set and just try and put them roughly in the region of that Doctor region, or do you take them out and bin the box?
Oh no, I feel your pain. I've been through this. Oh yes, I know exactly where you're coming from. Yeah, I mean it is because they'll put like a first Doctor story in with a 5th Doctor story or whatever, or 3rd Doctor with a 5th, and it's really annoying. Yeah, because you're like, where do I put it? I know. And also, do you? I mean, don't I always keep the box, but do you keep the box with the spine bit showing or with the covers showing so that they all match?
Yeah.
It's all these very difficult questions. Yeah, I
Yes.
struggle with it actually. I do struggle with it.
Yeah, I sat cross-legged in my living room for about 30-40 minutes just mulling this one over.
Yeah.
And in the end, I just sod it. I just keep them in the box and just put them at the beginning.
Yeah, that's
just
the
keep
best
it at the
way.
beginning, because there's one of them that's really difficult. I think it's a Revisitations 1 or 2 box set that's got Caves of Androzani, the movie, and something else. Is it Talons of Wing Chiang?
Yes, think so. Yeah.
I think it's that box set. So you can't do anything with that one because you've got the movie right at the other end.
Yeah.
And then you've got 4th and 5th. Yeah, it's just
Very tricky.
So yeah, trials and tribulations of a Who fan. What to do with your DVD collection?
I know. I'll tell you what else I've been doing this week is chasing up I haven't received my 9th Doctor comics, which I'm very angry about. I've been chasing up that order. I know you got them. Have you had a chance to flick through them yet?
I have read them. Yep.
Are they good?
They are
Fantastic.
They are fantastic. they're very good. Very good.
Well, hopefully mine will arrive soon. I'm looking at the door expectantly, waiting for the postman. But I think maybe I've annoyed the postman. Maybe he's got them because we painted our gate just last weekend, the bank holiday, and this is absolutely true. This is 2 weeks ago, so it should be dry, right? He arrived at the door yesterday with a blue hand. And I was like, oh. He said, have you repainted it? And I was like, no, I haven't, honestly. I said, it should be dry by now. He wasn't very happy. So maybe he's just thrown them in the bin on his way here.
Tardis blue.
Tardis. Well, no, it's not really. It's a sort of greeny blue, actually. It's a greeny blue.
Okay.
Yeah, if it was down to me, it'd be Tardis blue, obviously. But no, I didn't have much say in it.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. So hopefully they'll arrive soon because I am looking forward to seeing these Ninth Doctor comics with all their variant covers. I can't even remember how many variants I ordered, to be honest, but I ordered a few. So, yeah.
I think I picked up 2.
Yeah.
2 of them. Yeah, they're pretty cool covers actually.
Cool.
Yeah, I got the Eccleston in front of the Union Jack flag.
Oh yes, yep. Yeah.
And just the standard illustrated. I think he's just in front of the TARDIS with the sonic screwdriver.
Very nice.
Looks very cool, and it's a really good story. Actually, it kicks off pretty well. This is only a short run, isn't it, for the Ninth Doctor? I think it's
that's right. It is.
Was it 7 or 8 issues? 10 issues tops. Yeah.
Which is quite good actually, because then you're going to get the whole set, and you won't have to keep going on and on and on. So yeah,
it's very cool. Good. Yeah, I in fact I need to catch up with the 10, 11 and 9, 10, 11 Doctors comics because I've got the recent ones of those, but I haven't read them yet.
Yeah, I must admit I've got quite a few of the 12th Doctor ones still to read, because I started reading the 10 and 11 when as they came out, and I'm pretty much still up to date with them. But 12's come out a bit later, so I've kind of put him on a bit of a back burner. But yeah, I've got a bit of that to catch up. So maybe I'll read those while I'm waiting for the Ninth Doctors to pop through the letterbox if they ever do.
If they ever do, damn.
Well, I'm starting to lose. Yeah, I gotta say these first issues tend to disappear quick. This is what I'm worried about. That by the time they do get to resend them, won't have half of them in stock. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, mate.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. If not, you'll have to go back in the TARDIS and go back in time and get them.
It's easily done.
Yeah, I'll let you know if I need you to do that.
Talking to the TARDIS, shall we land it and do the news?
Yeah, let's do it.
Bosh, done.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Right, news. First up, happy birthdays. Happy birthdays, Mr. Peter Davison and Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
So on Monday the 13th, we had Mr. Davison, 64.
I know.
I couldn't believe that. I knew he was... can you believe that?
No, I never think of him being sort of 60-something at all. No. And he still gets loads of work, doesn't he, Peter? Like I still see him pop up in quite a few little programmes, quite often comedies, it seems, these days. But 64.
64. He just doesn't look it at all.
No, he doesn't.
I thought he was knocking on a bit. I thought he was in his late 50s, but...
It's that Gallifreyan face cream.
Gallifreyan face cream.
There's a product. Yeah.
There's one for you.
But no, he doesn't. No, he looks good for his age.
He does, yeah.
And I don't mean this in a cruel way, but it was also Peter Capaldi's birthday on Tuesday, so the following day, and he was 57. And I don't mean this in a nasty way, but I don't think he's aged as well as Peter. I think I always thought he was older, let's put it that way. I thought Peter was in his 60s because he's got quite a weathered face and a great face. If you're listening, Peter, you've got a very characteristic face, but I did think you were slightly older than 57.
He's got a weathered face.
Yeah, he's got one of those... He looks like he's seen a lot of action, which is perfect for a Time Lord.
He's got a face of wisdom and experience.
That's what I was trying to say.
There you
yes.
go. Yeah. No, he does look... it is strange, isn't it? Because I thought they were roughly the same age. I guess they are. Well, I don't know. What is it?
They're not far off.
6
What
years,
do you think? What do you think they did to celebrate? Do you think they had a...
I would say that Peter Davison probably didn't do anything. I'm guessing he just had a meal out with a family or something. I'm not sure. Because you've got two young boys, well, in their teens, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yep.
And Capaldi, I saw a photo of a birthday cake being given to him on set.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure it was on set or on location, but he was presented with a cake.
That's just reminded me. Actually, that means it's a year ago that they were filming Robots of Sherwood then, because I remember seeing a picture of him being given a Tardis, a Dalek stand, like a cake stand.
Oh yeah,
with all these cakes on for his birthday. They were filming it. So that must be a year ago today they were filming that, which is scary, isn't it? That's gone quick. He's probably saying the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, because his life will be rocketing along pretty fast pace since being the Doctor.
He's definitely a busy chap. I loved that recently when he went to the Doctor Experience and he cut that cake, and there was some great photos of him like surrounded by all these kids holding this knife with a Dalek in the background and stuff, and he looked really menacing holding this knife. It was just caught at the right moment. So yeah,
that's very cool.
So happy birthday, Doctors!
Happy birthday!
Doctor.
Yes,
that's it. In other news, one of our tabloid newspapers, not I wouldn't say one of the most reliable newspapers, but they do always seem to have Doctor Who news. There's a mild spoiler if this turns there's a spoiler here, guys, if this turns out to be true, so I'll warn you now.
Yes.
But basically one of the main tabloid newspapers is reporting that Davros is coming back in the first two-parter, The Magician's Apprentice, which seems odd because we've got Missy in that, which has already been confirmed. Wouldn't that be a bit crowded if they brought Davros back?
Yeah, that does seem a little bit.
Doesn't really fit in, but I am right in saying that, isn't it? Is that the episode they're saying he's coming back in?
The first two-parter, yeah, The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar.
That's it.
Yeah,
and apparently he's going to be as a kid, and it's all based on the line that was in Genesis of the Daleks, where the Doctor's contemplating, does he have the right, to wipe out an entire race? And apparently it's all to do with that. So it's quite a dark storyline in terms of the Doctor's contemplating whether he should kill this, kid who is Davros, who will become Davros. That's what they're reporting. And I've got mixed feelings about this. If it's true as a storyline, because it's quite an interesting idea, I have to say. Quite like the idea, but it is also very dark.
It is,
in terms of the subject matter, and we got some very dark subject matter in the last series, and I don't think it was handled particularly well. So I'm a little bit concerned about this because I think it's a good idea as long as they handle it in the right way. If you see what I mean. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the newer series being dark, I've read a couple of times now that there's a few stories within Series 9 that will be very dark. Apparently this first two-parter is going to be very dark, and also the one that Mark Gatiss is writing as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I think we are in for a darker ride on this series. In terms of Davros, I'm not...
Davros as a kid? Would that work?
I'm not. I mean, it could work for sure. If it's written in the right way and it's done well, it could absolutely work. But I'm not sure if it needs to be done. I quite like the mystery behind Davros, and
yes,
I'm not sure if we need to have that spelled out for us and led by the hand as to what he was like and how he became Davros and all that stuff. I'm not sure. So I think everyone needs to bear in mind that this isn't for sure. Like you say, this is just rumour at the moment.
It was reported by the Mirror newspaper. I mean, the Mirror are not renowned for always being factually correct, but they've obviously heard a whisper somewhere, whether they've exaggerated or whether. So that maybe there's some truth in it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's we don't really do spoilers here, but it's a very cool kind of concept and idea if it turns out to be true. But we shall wait and see.
We shall see. Yeah, I was going to say, I was hesitant whether to talk about it in the news because I don't want to ruin anything for anyone. Certainly wouldn't want to put any spoilers on the podcast. But I'm quite, I don't know, sceptical about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll wait and see.
Okay. Yeah. We'll wait and see.
Wait and see.
Lastly, in the news, our US friends will be getting some 10th Doctor action on the Disney XD channel.
Oh, right.
In the
Doctor's
US.
going to Disney.
Doctor is going to Disney. So
that's quite big.
so on May the 9th, Saturday the 9th of May, they will be premiering, whatever that is, New Earth.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm just not a fan of that. No, I know what they're doing. They're starting with Tennant, basically, aren't they? You know.
Yeah, that reaction's oh dear.
I'm just not a fan of that particular episode, but yeah.
Yes, so New Earth will go out on Saturday 9th of May, and then on Saturday the 13th of June, so a little bit of a break, they will show the rest of season 2. And I can say season because it's going out in the US, and they will they officially will call it season 2 of Doctor Who.
Very true,
So
mate.
So don't have to put any money in the jar this week. So season 2, the rest of it will start on Saturday the 13th of June across that week. And it's a week-long event for Disney XD called Adventures in Time and Space. And it will run through to the 20th. So that's very cool.
It is cool, actually. And do you know what? I mean, I don't... It's not the best episode, but actually, for that channel, for a Disney channel, it's probably quite a fun one because of the cats and, you know, the cat people and all that, the cat nurses and the face of Bo. It's got some nice moments in that episode. And it probably is a good one to ease you into it, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
Very light-hearted, isn't it, in places?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's probably not a bad choice.
Yeah, and I think they're going to put it on a bit later for... So I don't think it's for, like, the younger kids, but they're going to put it... I think it's... whichever time zone in the US, it's either 8 p.m. or 9 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's not early for like the little ones, but you know, it still appeals to, you know, 10 to teens age, whatever. So that's very cool. So a lot of people who haven't watched Doctor Who before, the younger generation over in the US, who don't maybe, you know, not really feel they want to ever watch Doctor Who before, and they watch Disney XD, and you know, it's a good sort of stepping stone onto the kids' TV stuff, because it's only the, you know, fairly late night BBC otherwise. Yeah,
no, it is. And I mean, you don't get much bigger than Disney in the States, do you? I would assume. So yeah, I think it is pretty good, actually.
Yeah, obviously it goes out on BBC America quite often, but you know, in terms of just a pure kids channel, this is good because it's it will hopefully bring in a whole new raft of younger Who fans.
Hope so.
Which is good.
Which is always good.
Always good. That's going to wrap for news.
So that's the news, yeah.
Right, so our first Q&A.
Oh, I'm excited about this.
You excited?
I am, yeah. I mean, we've glazed over our eyes over a few of the questions, but there's a lot in there I don't know what's coming. So I'm excited to hear what our listeners want to know.
So we've got a combination of audio clips, YouTube clips, and just written questions. That's very cool. So without further ado, it's our Q&A.
Right.
No pressure, Adam.
I'm feeling the pressure.
Yeah. So thank you very much to all of you that have sent in your questions to us. We've had loads. It's going to take us a little while to get through, so we won't take too long.
We'll crack on.
We'll crack on. So the first one came in from Stuart Stockrin on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got 5 questions for us.
Whoa.
Yeah. So when we announced this on the show and we said, ask us anything or whatever you want, you really have.
Right.
You asked us loads of questions. Yeah. So question number 1 to both of us. How did you become a fan of the show?
All right. Okay. Well, that's quite an easy one for me. I mean, I honestly can't remember a time when I wasn't watching it. I literally grew up watching it. I mean, that's, I don't know, something hooked me on it as a kid, but I remember seeing a few clips of Baker. I think I've got sort of very early memories of, can never quite sure what my first episode was, but it was at the end of the Tom Baker era. As a kid, sat in front of that television, just absolutely loved it. I think they did like a repeat series of shows, like a repeat season or whatever. And I don't know what year that would have been, but it just got me hooked, and I have just watched Doctor Who ever since. So
cool.
Yeah.
For me, I became a fan of the show after I was just flicking through. I was channel surfing one evening, and I think I I was sort of 10 minutes after The Beast Below had started.
Oh, yes.
And I was just mesmerised, really, by Matt Smith's performance. And it was it from there. It was that episode. So I can't claim to be a lifelong Who fan. It was back in, I don't know, 2010, 2009, something like that, whenever that went out.
Yeah.
And that's for me. I became a fan of the show after watching the last 25 minutes or so of that episode.
So something grabbed you. I always think it's strange. Yeah, I mean, if you were going to ask someone what episode they first saw that, made them want to watch more, I doubt very few people would say Beast Below. But something must have really grabbed you, and got you hooked.
Yeah, because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Obviously, I knew about Doctor Who and I knew about it, roughly. But I didn't know the details. I didn't know about, bigger on the inside, with the Tardis and the Doctor and his companions and all that jazz. Sonic screwdrivers. I didn't have a clue, really. So, so it was more like the cool kind of interplay between Matt Smith and Karen...
Amy Pond.
Karen...
Gillan,
yes.
Yeah.
Amy Pond, yeah. So that was it. Yeah. Question number 2 to both of us. Doctor's Daughter or Unicorn and the Wasp?
Unicorn and the Wasp for me.
Same for me.
Yeah.
Only because if I don't say that, my wife will kill me. 'Cause it's her favourite episode from that series.
Yeah, well, we recently reviewed it, and I enjoyed it an awful lot, actually. The first time I watched it, I wasn't mad on it, but I really, really like that episode now. Yeah. So I would go with that one.
Okay. Number 3, Time in the Rani or Doctor, Widow in the Wardrobe?
Oh, again, this is very easy for me. I can't stand Doctor the Widow, the Wardrobe, and I absolutely love Time in the Rani. So there's my answer.
I'm going to go with Time in the Rani as well, because that Doctor Widow in the Wardrobe is one of the poorest Christmas specials, in my opinion. That was very bad.
It was, it's just dreadful.
Number 4, this is for you, Adam.
Oh, right.
What made you want to start your YouTube channel, The Geek's Handbag?
Oh, right. There are a couple of things. I'll keep it brief, but a couple of things. The first one was I kind of wanted a way to sort of get to interact with other Doctor Who fans and Blake 7 fans and that, because I've only got a couple of friends that are really into it. I've got one friend who's really mad about Doctor Who, but I wanted to sort of, I don't really go on forums much, so I wanted sort of a way to connect with fans. And the other thing was, I watched a review of something. I wanted to buy the Star Trek Blu-ray, and I was trying to find a review because I'd heard all this really bad stuff about the packaging. So I went on YouTube to try and find a review, and I eventually found one that was pretty bad. But it was still kind of engaging, and I remember thinking, this would be quite fun. I might try this. I might do this when I get the new Doctor Who limited edition of Series 6, was it? Or Series 7? Series 7. Okay. Yeah, I thought I might do that. So that was it. So I did that first review, and I really enjoyed doing it. And I was really nervous about uploading because I've heard of all the sort of nasty things and people can do on YouTube. You can get a lot of negative stuff.
Yeah.
So I was really worried. I thought, well, I'll just put that out there, and it got quite a good response, and I really enjoyed doing it. So I did a couple more, and then before I knew it, I was sort of doing them all the time. And I liked the idea. I think one night I had this idea of the bag, the Geek's handbag. I liked the idea of having this bottomless bag that I could keep pulling loads of stuff out of, and that turned into being a handbag because I thought it was quite sort of quirky. And so that was it really, just a combination of that and what started out as being sort of a little distraction for something to do outside of work time turned into something I really enjoyed.
Cool. And I'm glad you have started that.
Yeah, and I still really enjoy doing it.
It's a great channel. So,
thanks, mate.
Lastly, from Stuart, this is to me. What made you come up with the idea of this brilliant podcast? Well, the idea was already done for me, I think, because I was a fan of a few Doctor Who podcasts already. I thought I could probably do that, and I'd started actually just doing a standard website blog for a couple of other things several months before that. And I thought, I really want to get into podcasts and I really want to do something slightly different from just a written blog. And I started doing some research into podcasts. And like I said, I'd already listened to or was actively listening to a lot of podcasts anyway. So I thought, this doesn't seem too bad. It doesn't seem too difficult. And so I thought, it would just be a good excuse. What better excuse to start a podcast than Doctor Who? And also, I don't really have many a lot of my close friends are not really into Doctor Who, and so I don't really have anybody to converse with, and I think it's a lot better for me to talk to you guys and with you, Adam, about Doctor Who rather than just talking to myself in the car on the way to work.
Yeah, no,
So
fair enough.
That was the idea.
Cool.
Cheers, Stuart.
Thanks, Stuart.
Next question is from, I only know this guy by his YouTube name, The Last of the Time Lords.
Oh, yes.
And he has sent us a YouTube clip. So thank you very much. Let's give that a listen.
My first question is, who's your favourite Doctor? So that's for each of you. Your favourite New Who episode? Your favourite classic episode? Which spin-off do you prefer, Sarah Jane Adventures or Torchwood? And if you were in charge of creating a new spin-off for Doctor Who, what would be your ideal spin-off show? And who would you choose to be the main actor or actress in that show? Thank you for answering my questions, and I hope to hear my questions on the Big Blue Box podcast next week. Thank you.
What a nice chap.
I recognise that voice. Yeah, his name's Thomas.
Hi, Tom.
I don't know who it is. So hello, Thomas. Thanks for your questions, mate.
Yeah.
What was the first one?
Right, so who's your favourite Doctor?
Tom, Fourth Doctor.
10 for me. Favourite New Who episode?
New Who?
It's very fast.
Waters of Mars always springs to mind. I don't know if it's my favourite, but I really enjoy that one. Parting of the Ways is one that I just think is really good.
Yep.
So yeah, those two spring to mind.
Okay. This is one of my regrets that we didn't research these before.
All right.
Favourite new? I will probably say The Waters of Mars for me.
It's a good one.
Either that or The Waters of Mars or
Utopia's good.
yeah.
It's got to be a Tennant one for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to say The Waters of Mars for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Your favourite classic episode?
Oh my goodness. There's loads. Favourite. I think Seeds of Doom is always very, very high on my list. The Tom Baker Seeds of Doom. I think I always say that because Seeds of Doom, Pyramids of Mars, City of Death. No, I'm going to go Seeds of Doom. I love Seeds of Doom.
Seeds of Doom. Okay, I'm going to go with Pyramids of Mars.
Yeah, that's a very close second for me. I love Pyramids as well.
Yeah.
So good choice.
Yeah. Which spin-off do you prefer? Sarah Jane Adventures or Torchwood?
Torchwood, because I haven't seen all of Sarah Jane Adventures. I always really enjoyed them. They're quite light-hearted, but I'm probably more into Torchwood.
Same, for that very reason.
Yeah.
And if you were in charge, what spin-off would you create, and who would the lead actor or actress be?
That's a tough one. Not too sure.
Very good question, Thomas. Let me go while you're thinking.
Okay.
I would probably do... actually, no, you go, because I'm still thinking.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I find that quite hard, actually. I quite liked the guys that were in Time Heist.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know the characters. I
Yes.
was convinced we were going to see them again. They might make quite a good spin-off. I don't know. I'm finding this quite a hard question. I can't think of any other, because my immediate thoughts are like Captain Jack or something like that. But of course, we've got that. K9 had a spin-off because I love K9. Could Chameleon come back? No, Chameleon. I don't know if you've seen much Chameleon, but no, he couldn't have a spin-off. Handles, maybe? No, I don't know. It's a tough one, that. I'm struggling. So, yeah. Do you know, for the fun of it, I'm just going to say Handles because I loved Handles.
Okay. For me, I would like to see, and this might surprise some people, I would like to see some more Mickey.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The reason for that is because at the end of time, you know, when the Doctor does his kind of sad, broody, going off to visit his companions, and you know, before he regenerates.
Yeah.
There's the bit where he saves Mickey and
Martha
from the Centauran, and they're obviously freelancing in some kind of alien battle, bounty hunting kind of thing. And that looks really cool. Martha and Mickey now married, doing that kind of stuff. I'd like to see some more of that.
Yeah. Do you know what, mate? That is a really good shout. And I'm gonna agree with you. That's a really good one. Yeah.
Cool. So thank you, Thomas.
Thanks, Thomas.
Devin Baker on Facebook. Question 1. Best Doctor Who quote.
Well, actually, that's easy. That's easy.
Yeah.
For me, Doctor Who quote, it's got to be, isn't it? One day I shall come back. One day, that I know we use it every podcast, but that is a brilliant quote. Is there any better Doctor Who quote than that?
I don't think so. I think
It's got to be the ultimate, isn't it?
I know it's popular and it's cliched, but it is amazing. It's a very heartfelt quote, and it does tug at the old heartstrings every time I hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say that one as well. I know it's cliched, but it's amazing.
I gotta say that the first one that comes to my mind when you said it was Chatwell Wing's 5 rounds rapid, which is a great quote, but I think the one day one is just iconic. Yeah.
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 Okay. Number 2. Best and worst season, new and classic.
Best and worst season.
Yeah. So let's do classic first. What's the best season from Classic Who?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's probably for me. It's probably one of the Fourth Doctor ones. I'm trying to think. It'd be the season with pyramids and seeds.
Yeah.
Because they're all in one. I think it's series 13. Oh gosh, you're testing me here. I am kind of wishing we'd look through these. I think it's season 13. It's got Terror of the Zygons, Pyramids of Mars, Android Invasion, Brain of Morbius, which I absolutely love.
Love that one.
And Seeds of Doom. Yeah, that's a great series. So yeah, I'm going to go with that one.
Same for me. And New Who?
New Who? What best?
Best.
The one with Tate. I love. It's series 4, isn't it?
Series 4, yeah.
Really like series 4 with Catherine Tate. Yeah, some really good episodes in that one.
Yep, same for me. And the worst of classic, and I've tread very carefully here. The worst series for me, and I'm just going to get this out of the way so we can move on, will be McCoy's last series.
Okay.
Yep. Which you would expect it anyway.
Yeah, I really like McCoy's last series. The worst series for me from the classic era. I mean, I do enjoy it all. Let me just say that, but as a kid, I struggled with the Colin Baker. Probably his first proper season, 22 maybe, something like that. It's got Time Lash and the Two Doctors, and Two Doctors okay. There's some good moments, but I think if I had to, if I was sort of forced to pick one, I'd probably go with that series because I didn't enjoy it as a kid. It was too grim and too violent.
Cool. Okay.
Okay.
Question 3 from Devin is favourite animal?
Cats. Love cats.
My favourite animal would be a tiger. Love tigers.
Okay.
Last question. Wow. We might have to condense this a little bit. The 5 best and worst Doctor Who stories.
5 best and worst. Okay. I don't know.
Let's do 3 because...
Yeah, I gotta say we did just name a couple of best. I mean,
I think individual stories this one. So let's do 3. Sorry, Devin. Let's do 3 best and worst. Classic or New Who, whatever you like.
From the new series, I mean, I love The Empty Child and Doctor Dances. That 2-parter with the gas mask kid, brilliant. Waters of Mars, you already said. Brain of Morbius, I just mentioned. I think that's a brilliant story. Love Brain of Morbius. Pyramids of Mars. What other good ones are there? I mean, there's loads, isn't there? How can you...
Yeah, for me, the best ones would be Caves of Androzani.
Oh, yeah, great, yeah.
Pyramids of Mars. Waters of Mars. And Family of Blood.
Great. Yeah, good choice.
That 2-parter, yep.
Yep.
Worst? Well,
Well, I can think of a few.
Let's- Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Let's not do worst.
Oh no, let's do it. I've
you
got
sure?
a
'Cause-
few. Yeah, I'll rattle off a few for you.
Oh God, go on then.
Time Lash,
Yeah.
Time Flight, Planet of the Dead, I can't stand. Night Terrors, Disastrous, and Nightmare in Silver spring to mind immediately. So there you
Okay.
go. There's your that was 5, wasn't it? There's your 5 worst.
Okay, 5 for me would be Survival.
Oh,
Which one did I give a low score? I'm sure.
oh,
it
what was the
Survival.
one you? Yeah, what was the one you obliterated? Well, Death in Heaven, you hated, and that is a crap episode. So we could go with that, couldn't we?
Yeah, Survival. Yeah, I only gave it a 3. Yeah, Survival.
Death in Heaven.
Death in Heaven. Yeah. Yeah. Nightmare in Silver is shocking.
Yes, awful.
Uh,
That's 3. Let's go with
so,
that.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I can hear the listeners screaming at us from the other end of it. What?
Yeah. So thank you, Devin.
Thanks, Devin.
Number 4 on our list is Harry Westergaard.
Ah, talking to the 7th Doctor.
Yes, and we have a clip from old Harry. Here we go.
Oh, great.
Hello, Adam. Hello, Gary. Hello, faithful listeners of the Big Blue Box podcast. It is I, Harry Westergaard, the famous ranter about how awesome Sylvester McCoy's era is, here today to ask both Gary and Adam a couple questions. So starting out, I would like to know what each of your favorite Sylvester McCoy era stories is, if it is possible. It's easy though, obviously, because I really love all of his stories. So it should be easy because they're obviously all good, except for maybe Silver Nemesis and Time in the Rowney. Well, in Paradise Tower, which is probably bad. But and then I would like to know each of your favorite 7th Doctor moments. I'm sure Gary's just has to be any one of the R roles, any of them. And maybe one from Survival or something. Or does he roll any in Survival? I don't know. That's not related. And finally, more of a recommendation. I want you guys in the future, I think, should review every one of McCoy's 12 stories. You've got about how many down? About 3. So if I could do math, I'd say. Oh wait, you have about 9 left. I don't know. I can't math. But so yeah, that's it for me. And yeah, here's to the future.
Thank you, Harry.
Thanks, Harry. Yeah, here's
you,
to
Harry.
the future. Nice Delta and the Bannerman quote there. Love is the answer. Right, so the favourite 7th Doctor story. And by the way, he did mention that he'd like us to review all the 7th Doctor, and I'm sure we will, because there's not that many. So
Yeah.
we will eventually, but
We will.
we're not going to do them all at once. We need to spread them out for Gary's sanity.
Yeah.
But my favourite 7th Doctor story is without doubt Remembrance of the Daleks. So I love it. Absolutely love it.
Okay. I'm going to say that as well because of the episodes that I have seen so far. That was the better of the ones I have seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good one. Fave 7th Doctor moment. Probably the cafe scene in Remembrance. So that's a nice scene where he's chatting to the guy about the ripples of the water and the knock-on effect. That's a nice little 7th Doctor moment. I'll tell you what, I also love the end of Greatest Show in the Galaxy when he's doing all these clown tricks to the rocks of Ragnarok, which you're gonna love, Gary, because you get right. I can't roll my R's, but the rocks of Ragnarok, or whatever it is, he does say it with rolling R's quite a lot. So you're gonna love that one.
Come on, Ace. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Favourite 7th Doctor moment for me would be, when they walk off at the end of Survival, I guess.
Yeah, I thought you might say that.
I'm joking. I'd probably say, that scene in the cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, thank you, Harry. I appreciate your enthusiasm and your love for the 7th Doctor.
He does love the 7th Doctor.
Fair play. So, number 5 from Taylor Mason.
Oh, hello, Taylor.
From Facebook, number 1 for Gary. If you could go back in time to meet one of the deceased Doctors, who would you meet?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good one. I would like to go back and meet John Pertwee.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons. First of all, because I thought he was a great doctor, and it would be cool to chat with him about his time on the show and all that kind of stuff. But secondly, I grew up on Wurzel Gummidge. So he's one of my favourite childhood. From my childhood, he's one of my favourite actors. And had me in tears and laughter a lot of the time when I was growing up. So before I was even into Doctor Who or all that sort of stuff and cartoons, it was Wurzel Gummidge with Pertwee. So that'd be for me. And then the second question is for Adam, for you.
All right.
If your house was on fire...
Oh my God!
And you only had a few minutes to save a few bits of Doctor Who merchandise.
Well,
what would that be and why? What would it be and why?
Oh, that's impossible.
Come on.
Oh gosh. Well, K9, obviously the remote control K9. We all know how much I love that.
Oh yes, please.
I couldn't leave him in a burning building. That would just be awful. I do love my Seventh Doctor umbrella. Yeah, I'd probably grab that on the way out if it wasn't already a light. My autographs, maybe. I've got quite a few autographs. My first Doctor annual, and the silver screen. Oh gosh, it'd be really heavy to lug out of a burning building. But the handmade TARDIS from Silver Screen with all the Doctor Who music inside, I'd probably try and lug that out as well. Gosh, I couldn't. Yeah, that's a tough question, Taylor. I don't know.
That is a tricky one, actually, because you've got so much stuff.
Yeah. God, that is my word. Imagine it all. No, I can't think about it. I can't contemplate it.
Don't do it.
No.
Cool. Okay. Next question is from Epic Who on Facebook. And he has emailed in some audio clips for us.
Oh, cool.
So here is the first one.
What Doctor Who spin-off would you like to see made other than a possible Paternoster Gang spin-off, Torchwood or Sarah Jane Adventures?
The spin-off question again.
Yeah, it's quite a tough one, that, and it's one of that because I can't think of strong characters. And the annoying thing is, when as soon as we finish doing this, I'll probably think of some. But I find that quite a tough question.
I've got one that's a cracker.
Go on.
If he hadn't have been killed, Clive.
Oh yeah,
from Rose.
Clive, yes, because he's doing all his research in his little shed, and good one.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Very good one, mate.
And number 2?
What do you think it is that makes Doctor Who so inspiring to so many generations, be them 60 years old or be them 6 years old? What is it that makes the show so successful and inspiring on a global scale?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's quite subjective, I guess.
I think it's because he's a force for good. Do you know what I mean? Everything he stands for is
good.
Well, is that a bit cheesy? But do you know what I mean? He stands for doing the right thing.
Yep. Most of the time.
Yeah, because I was going to say he's doesn't use violence and stuff, but it depends which Doctor you get. Because not that I'm jumping ahead, but there was a bit with the first Doctor in the review we're going to do, which I was like, that's a bit violent.
And
I don't know. Then what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, Colin Baker as well, strangling up.
Acid baths. Yeah. Well, most of the time he's a force for good.
Okay. I would say, in terms of inspiration, it's. I think it's one of those things where, with some TV shows, you don't really aspire to be exactly like the character in a show too much. As much as you enjoy watching a program or characters, you don't really want to be that person too much. But I think with the Doctor, I think just like the question that was asked from if you're 6 years old or 60 years old, I think there's a big part of us that wants to be the Doctor. It'd be so cool to regenerate and just be that person who can just travel for hundreds of years and do that stuff and not have to pay bills and
yeah.
But I think it's cool just to be able to have that freedom, and you just want. I think everybody wants that, and have cool friends to knock about with them, and some inspiration point of view. I know it's cheesy, but like you said, he's a good guy overall.
And also, the format of it, like you just said, he can, because of the TARDIS, everything, he can go anywhere, meet anyone from any race or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it's a limitless possibility, which can include everyone. So that's, I think, why it appeals to everyone.
Yeah.
Because he's not stuck anywhere with one sort of set of characters. He can literally go from, anywhere and include anyone in it. So that's another reason, I think.
Yeah, and it's got that global. I mean, in terms of global success as well, it's. I think because there's such a vast amount of stuff, from classic stuff all the way through to the new stuff. Even it doesn't matter what age you are. If you prefer like your classic TV or younger fans who are into the newer stuff or vice versa, all that, there's just so much to like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter what country you're in or what age you are. I'm sure there's something in Doctor Who, even if it's a spin-off, if you're a Sarah Jane fan or all that stuff, there's something to like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good question.
Good question. Next up, this is from Louise, from Louise Loopyland from YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Louise.
Hello, it's Louise from Loopyland on YouTube, and I'm a new listener, so I was just wondering how it all began. How did you both meet and end up making this podcast together? Was it Gary who started it? And I have a second small question for Adam. Do you have a special outfit to go with your geek's handbag? Wink, wink.
Love that last question.
Yeah, cheers, Louise.
Oh, brilliant.
So how did it all start? Well, you know about how it starts. I started it last... hold on, was it last year?
Yeah.
Last year. And then Adam started to comment on some of the podcasts. Got chatting to Adam, invited him on as a guest. And then, because it went down so well... took some of his Doctor Who merchandise and held him to ransom to come on as a permanent host. So we didn't actually meet until this year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but only a couple of months ago, wasn't it, that we actually finally met in person? Yeah,
in Windsor.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, at the Day of the Doctors convention in Slough, we linked up for the first time.
That's right, and I think it might have been. Didn't Remembrance play a part in why I came on in the podcast in the first place, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
wasn't
was.
I think that was one of the first ones where I had to come on and defend it. So that played a part in it, and yeah, we just sort of got on well, and then sort of went from there, really.
Yeah,
so yeah,
you kind of wanted to go. You went to bat for McCoy, and you didn't want me to destroy it completely.
That's right,
and I don't think I did completely. I think I liked a lot of elements from it, but yeah. And then over to you, man. This is all you. This one.
Do I have a what was it? Do I have a special outfit?
A special outfit to go with your geek's handbag.
Oh, look, I love that question. I wish I did. I don't have a special outfit.
Lies.
I'm trying to think what I'm trying to think what a special outfit. Thing is, the geek's handbag is in part inspired by Ace's jacket. So there's Ace, the Seventh Doctor companion, because it's got the badges, it's got the Blue Peter badge. Yeah. So it's kind of the bag is kind of inspired by Ace's jacket. So I guess if I had a special outfit, it might need to be Ace themed. That's a bit of a scary thought. Me dressed as cosplaying as Ace, Ace with a beard. But so anyway, in short, no, I haven't got a special outfit, Louise. And now you've put the idea in my head, maybe I should get one. Perhaps you could give me some suggestions on what it should include, because I'm intrigued.
That's a cool question.
Yeah, great.
Cheers, Louise. Next up from YouTube, we've got Jarkham Reviews.
Oh, yeah.
And here is his question.
Hi guys, I love the podcast and I'd like to ask this question for your Q&A. So, what was it like for you guys during the wilderness years, and what did you do to fill the void of Doctor Who not being on telly?
Oh,
thank you. This is an easy one for me, so I'll get mine out of the way. I wasn't a Who fan during the wilderness years. However, when there's no new Doctor Who on TV between the series, I am just digging through all my other episodes and some Big Finish stuff.
Yes.
So that's easy for me. What about you, buddy?
Yeah, it's a difficult time actually. Not in a, but it was a difficult time to fill because, as I said before, I only had a couple of friends that liked Doctor Who. So when it went off air, I couldn't. There wasn't really much to fill it. I've always subscribed to Doctor Who magazine, so I used to, really look forward to that. I kind of kept thinking it would come back. It was only after a couple of years went by that, you sort of thought, you think, well, no, it's not coming back. Big Finish filled a gap. I did get into the Big Finish range quite heavily during the wilderness years, and also the DVDs. You know, the BBC started putting out all the classic stories on DVD, and I loved collecting those. So that kind of filled a gap. So Doctor Who magazine, Big Finish, and just rewatching the classic episodes. And I think that was it really.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Jarkham. Jarkham Reviews. Next up, Helen Jones from Facebook. Which companion from the classic era would you like to see return?
Adric. No, I'm kidding. I do like Adric. Classic companion.
I'm going to say Adric.
You hate Adric.
No, I'm going to say Adric. I'm being serious.
It'd be tough for him to come back, but I suppose they could do it. Big Finish did it actually.
Yeah. If he didn't cop it.
Yeah.
I would have said Adric purely because
you want to see him die all over again.
No. Adam, what's with all this? This hatred.
No. I love Adric.
I love that. No,
I love Adric.
I'd want to see him come back just because it would be an awesome time for him to kind of redeem himself. And to the Adric fans out there, I don't want to start a big war like I have with some of the McCoy fans or anything like that. Although Adric is a little bit on the annoying side at times, I think it'd be cool for him to come back and get his teeth into some good stories and show that he could be a cool companion. But as he's dead, I'm going to say Susan.
Oh, yes. Yes, I would love to see Susan come back.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really, really wanted her to come back in the 50th, actually.
Shocked. That was a scandal.
Yeah. I've said it to her when I met her. I said to her, I'd love to see her come back. As you've said, Susan, I'm going to say Chesterton. I mean, why has he not been? They're at Colour School. It's such a missed opportunity. Chesterton. Let's bring him back.
Cool.
Ian Chesterton.
Yeah. Next up from Facebook as well, we have Fionn Walsh, also known as Doctor Who Guy. And these questions are to both of us. So, favourite Doctor Who book?
Favourite Doctor Who book?
Yeah.
I really like The Vault, actually. The book, Doctor Who The Vault, just goes through the history of Doctor Who. It's a great book. So, I'll say that.
Okay. I will say The Writer's Tale.
Oh,
which is the Russell T Davies stuff when he was writing the newer stuff.
Yes.
Torchwood or Sherlock?
Sherlock.
I'm going to say Torchwood because I don't watch Sherlock.
Oh, really? Oh, I really like Sherlock.
Number 3, most underrated Fourth Doctor story.
Underrated? God, I've got to think of all the Fourth Doctor stories now.
I know this one.
Go on then.
The Brain of Morbius.
Oh, it's a brilliant episode.
Yeah, it doesn't really get rated as highly as his other ones in that series, though.
I suppose it gets kind of, I guess there's some really strong ones there that might overshadow it a bit.
Exactly.
Do you know what? I've always kind of liked Megalos because it's not the best, but I do think it's a bit underrated. It gets a bit of a slaying. I'm going to say Megalos, and I also love Legopolis, and that one gets a lot of flack as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to go with Megalos because that one gets forgotten about, and I actually think it's not too bad, that one. I quite enjoy it.
Cool. And lastly, football question, Liverpool or Southampton?
I can't stand football, so neither.
I will say Liverpool.
Okay, I'll say Liverpool.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I have no clue about football at all, so yeah, I'll say Liverpool.
Cool, thanks for that, mate. Ryan Anthony on Facebook. Again, questions to both of us. Who is your fave Doctor and villain?
Well, fave Doctor's fourth, Tom Baker. Fave villain, and probably I love Davros. So probably Davros.
Okay, so fave Doctor for me is Tennant, and fave villain, I will say the Master from the classic. Which one? Who would you say from the classic years, dude? Master-wise.
Roger Delgado, 100%.
Okay, yeah.
Or it's either him or Anthony Ainley. Or
Delgado, yeah.
Yeah, I think Delgado's the best.
Question 2. Summarise who in one word.
Amazing. No, that's boring. Summarise.
Come on.
Limitless.
Limitless. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I would say... fantastic. Question 3. Where does Capaldi sit in your Doctor Who ranking?
Very highly in mine. Yeah, very highly. Yeah. He's in the top 3, I would have said, at the minute. Depending on... I'm waiting to see how he pans out in the next series. To be honest, it's more down to the writers than him, because I think he's great. But it's just the way he's written sometimes. So, yeah, very highly. Probably top 3.
Okay. Yeah, highly for me as well. I don't really rank Doctors that much. But I would say he's in my top 5 for sure. Yep. 1, 2, 3. Probably number 4. Number 3 or 4, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
He's an amazing Doctor. Yeah, really good. Just needs some good stories.
Yes.
Right. Question number 4. Fave Doctor Who merchandise. Bloody hell, here we go.
Yeah, where'd you start?
Do you need a while, mate?
Yeah. Well, I love all the. I do like the scarves and things. Actually, I mean, I buy a lot of the figures, but I love the. I'm not much of a cosplayer, but I love all the sort of replicas that you can get, if you know what I mean. So, like the Fourth Doctor scarf, the umbrella, and there is actually some cool replicas like the. I haven't got it, but the Siege Mode TARDIS and things like that. I love the actual sort of props that you can get. So, I'll probably say those.
Okay, mine would be my 10th Doctor's Sonic TV remote.
Oh, yeah, I'd love that.
I love the stand, how it just stands upright, magnetised, and it's very high quality, and it does loads of cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to get one of those. Yeah, looks really good.
And lastly, from Ryan, favourite guest star? He actually, he actually stumped me a lot with this one.
Guest star?
Yeah. He gave examples, things like Frank Skinner, from Mummy, that kind of thing. So not a companion, a regular, or Simon Pegg from,
Well, I don't know if my favourite, I don't know if you kind of count it as a guest star, but then she only did 2, is Kate O'Mara as Rani. I just love her. I just think she's really, really good.
That'd work.
So I'm going to go with Kate O'Mara.
Okay, my favourite guest star is Clive from Rose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just can't get that character out of my head at the moment. Just amazing.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
Last audio clip. This is from Kai McNamee. Hi, Kai. And he sent us 2 questions. Let's kick off with the first one.
Who is your favourite Doctor Who writer? Which of their stories do you like the most, and why?
Ooh. Favourite Who writer?
Gosh. Well, I think, do you know what? I think my favourite writer is probably Terrance Dicks, because he did so many of the Target books, and I used to read them a lot as a kid, so I love Terrance Dicks. And he did do some great stories for the actual TV show as well, and some of the time he wasn't credited under his own name, so you might not necessarily know, but he did Robot, Brain and Morbius keeps coming up, he is part of that. Horror Fang Rock he wrote, which is a great one.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with Terrance just because of his amazing output on Target, and also because he's written a lot of stories that I love, and I'll always be grateful for Terrance for doing the 5 Doctors, which I think is amazing. So yeah, Terrance Dicks for me.
Okay, I was torn actually. I was going to say Terrance, but I think I'm going to say Russell T Davies.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons. Firstly, we owe him a lot. And secondly, some of his stories are just mind-blowingly brilliant. For the first 2 Doctors of New Who, some of the... I think we've spoken about it on the podcast before, where he has this knack of just writing even the smallest of characters. He has this knack of writing them with such depth and likability. And it really does make an average story an amazing story. And my favourite story by Russell T Davies, I think, is... I think, is The End of Time, Part 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, you like that. Yeah, you like that, don't you?
And I know, as we're saying it, there's people going, "The End of Time? Are you joking?" But in terms of, I know it's got its flaws and stuff, but in terms of how it's written, I think is amazing.
Okay.
Yep. And next question from Kai.
What do you think about this story of a college in Stockport teaching Doctor Who as a course?
I think it's great, actually. I wish I lived closer. I'd definitely enroll. No, I think it's really, really good.
This was we did this in the news, didn't we, a while back, where this guy is doing I think it's the history of Doctor Who, if memory serves.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and you can learn everything right back from An Unearthly Child, and even back further, how they got the show up and running and stuff, all the way through to the newer stuff. And I'm not sure what you would do with that course qualification once you're done with it, but I think it would be a really good course to do.
It would be fun, wouldn't it? It would be. Yeah.
Maybe there's no point to it. Maybe they're not expecting people to do anything because, but in terms of going to college each night or once a week in the evening to do a course, and people say, "What are you doing at college?" "Oh, I'm doing a Doctor Who hit." That'd be that'd be like huge amounts of nerd points for that one.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'd love to do that. It would be fun.
Yeah, it would
be great fun. So I think it's good. I love the fact that somebody's actually doing that.
Yes. Cheers, Kai.
Thanks, Kai.
And our last one is from Lanto Williams on Facebook, to both of us. Who is the biggest Doctor Who fan out of the two of you?
Oh, that's a tough question.
This is easy for me. And it would be Adam.
Well, probably because I've seen more, I suppose. I've been around Doctor Who longer. That's the only reason. I think the passion is equal for the show.
Yeah,
the passion is equal. If you're talking about who, has got more background with Doctor Who, then it's probably me. Just because, as I say, I've been watching it ever since I can remember. So but I don't think that makes you a bigger fan. I think we both got equal amount of passion for the show.
Okay, right, yeah. In terms of love for the show, it's I think we're pretty equal. But in terms of fandom and if you if you look at Adam's, if you watch Adam's videos on YouTube, you will see the vast amount of Doctor Who. You live Doctor Who pretty much, Adam. Even when we're not recording, you just turn around and you probably got a huge amount of Doctor Who stuff ready to play with and enjoy.
Well, but it's true. But the thing is, that's why I kind of like the dynamic, because you came into Doctor Who at a totally different time to me. So, but it makes it more interesting. So I don't know. We're both massive Doctor Who fans.
Yes, we're equal fans. Yeah. That concludes our Q&A. Thank you very much for sending in all of your questions. That's a few of those got us stumped.
They did. I thought I was waiting for you to play the music back in. Yeah. But no, it's very cool. Some good questions there. Yeah, some of them quite hard to answer, actually.
They were. And there was a few times where I thought, should we have looked at these in advance? Should we have...
It's more fun on the spot.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's too planned. But hopefully we gave you some good answers back.
Yeah. Hopefully you know a little bit more about our views and how we feel about certain stuff for Doctor Who. And we'll probably do another Q&A later on in the year or next year or something.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sending in your questions. I know it's a little bit of extra effort to do audio clips or videos, but hopefully it's been cool for you listening to your voice on the podcast. And that's going to wrap for the Q&A. What have we got coming up review-wise, buddy?
So, well, it's been a while since we visited the first Doctor, isn't it? So it's time for the Time Meddler.
All right, that will do. I believe we've come through this corridor twice already. It's no use you playing for time, I want some answers. Now, I wouldn't do that if I were you. This may not be a gun, but I can still do you a considerable amount of harm. Oh, a man of violence. I'm surprised at you. Never mind about all that. What is it you're doing here? What are you up to? The door, I must go. Just leave that, shall we? If I don't go, they'll get suspicious. Well, then we'll both go. I'll open the door, then I can keep an eye on you. You open the door? No, Doctor, that's not a very good idea. Oh, isn't it? And why not? Because you're not wearing the right sort of clothes. Oh! Yes, I see. First you want to open the door, then you want the chance to reverse the position with the help of whoever it is outside. Secondly, you want to get me into a monk's habit so that whoever that is would recognize me as an imposter.
Dear me, what an untrusting nature you have, my son.
Yes, and you can drop the monk's act.
Mr. Hartnell.
Yeah, it's a great scene. I love that bit actually, with the two of them together. There's a character I'd love to see come back. That's the meddling monk.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to see him return. Obviously, it'd have to be played by a different actor, but yeah, a really great, fun character, I thought.
Very cool. So this was back, way back, series 2.
Gosh, hard to imagine.
Yeah, 1965. And this is a 4-episode affair with 25 minutes each. And yeah, so this goes back to a time when Doctor Who was very experimental, I guess. A combination of experimental and I think it was going through a phase, wasn't it, where it was trying to be a bit educational as well. Do you agree?
I think so. Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's. I mean, like you said, it's at the end of series 2, so it's sort of found its feet a bit, but it's also this sort of marked a change in the series a bit, because obviously the story before we've just said goodbye to Ian and Barbara.
Yeah.
So we've got a bit of a sort of change of dynamic. And yeah, you're right, they're sort of introducing the historical bit, which they do, you know, throughout the sort of early era of Doctor Who, every now and again. Yeah. And I think in this story it works really quite nicely, actually.
Yeah, because they put in some quite some deliberate kind of dates and events from history, don't they? Like the Battle of Hastings and you know, 1066 and the Vikings invading and stuff like that. And,
yeah, they're really explicit with it. I mean, they don't, because sometimes they just sort of let you think, well, it's around about there or whatever, but they're quite explicit in telling you exactly when this is set and what's going on, aren't they?
Yes, and so the story, yeah. So just to give you a summary of the story, the Doctor with Vicky and Stephen land in, is it Northumberland?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and it's in 1066, so this very important historical battle is kind of round the corner, and they discover that there's a small village and there's a monk living up on the hill, and he's not as he seems. He's not a classic monk, because they when they get to this village and stuff, and they hear like that very spooky monk singing, chanting stuff. And when we investigate further with the Doctor, we find out that the monk is actually a time traveller with his own Tardis.
Yeah.
And what he's doing is he's going to these key events throughout history and is changing them a little bit. He's kind of, he thinks he's, you know, making these events better for people and for history. And there's a few times where he references things that he's been involved with, like the construction of Stonehenge and some other things like that. So he's kind of been pivotal in these big kind of historical moments throughout history. And while he thinks he's doing everybody a big favour and he's trying to help everybody, the Doctor kind of views him as literally as a meddler, you know, interfering, you know, not really shouldn't be putting his hand to these important events. They should be played out naturally and stuff like that. And there's also this secondary plot where the Vikings and the Saxons have got like a little kind of skirmish going on. And we also have Vicky and Stephen, who are kind of at the odds a lot of the time in this one. She's wanting to go and do stuff, and he like, no, we should do this. And he's very cynical, and that's pretty much it for like story wise. And like I said, it has got this educational element as well. It's they reference these important dates, and they've got these props like Viking helmets and all that kind of stuff. And the little village that they go to inside their little hut, it's got, you know, like drinking out of a buffalo horn or whatever it is, and all that stuff. So it's quite good for like historical stuff. And then obviously running through that, we have the Doctor himself. So
yeah,
story-wise, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got a nice little story at the heart of it, and I like the fact that the monk, he's he's not really a bad guy, is he? I mean, he's meddling and
No,
he's trying to change his events, but he's sort of doing it because he thinks, he can make them better. So, but he's not sort of doing it for any sort of villainous, trying to take over the world type thing. And I think that's kind of refreshing, actually, because he is doing something wrong, but it's, he's trying to also do something right at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's quite good. I think that's quite nice and quite unusual, actually. You don't often get a story like that.
Yeah, and he plays it quite well as well, Peter Butterworth. He's
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's talk about Peter Butterworth, because he's mainly known for his carry-on roles, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I think he's delightful in this. I think he's a really fun, one of these characters that lights up the screen when he's on it. I think he's just, again, comes back to the facial thing. He's got one of those sort of faces. And he gives a really nice performance. I love Peter Butterworth as the monk. I think he's perfect casting.
Yeah, he's really good. And I totally agree. He's got one of those faces. It looks like he's going to burst out laughing at any moment. He's definitely a comical. He was definitely a comics actor. And,
well, I love the scenes with him and William Hartnell together. They are both absolutely, like you said about, they look like they're going to burst out laughing. I mean, Hartnell doesn't always smile, but he's really seems to be relishing the scenes between the two of them, didn't you think?
Yes.
They look like they're having a lot of fun.
Yes.
And
it was one of those, in various scenes with the two of them, there was a lot of back and forth. And it was almost as, for me anyway, it was the monk, it was almost like he always felt like he was in control, even when he was, being held at stick point by the doctor. And even at the very end, when he's reading out the letter from the doctor, saying that, the doctor might, release him one day. And even then he's laughing and chuckling along.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
so
yeah.
Right up to the very end, just before he looks inside his TARDIS or his time machine, he's got this element of kind of confidence about him. And because I think I'm assuming anyway, the character was written that he feels like he's always got this safety net. So when he goes to these different historical situations and times, if something isn't quite working out that well, he knows he can just hop into his time machine and off he goes.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? He's got this kind of invisible safety net, and he kind of underestimates the Doctor, I think.
Yeah, he does.
For all the to-ing and throwing before them, like I said, he feels like he's, even when he's being told and, what to do, and, he's being accosted by the Doctor, he still thinks that he's got the upper hand.
Yeah, because when he's reading the letter, he's laughing, isn't he? He's going, "Oh, you silly old fool," like that. He just totally, like you say, totally underestimates the Doctor and just thinks, he's got it all, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that's lovely, isn't it? I love the fact that Doctor leaves in that little note just to sort of tell him.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's one of those. I think I could be wrong here, but I think it's one of the earliest examples where the Doctor has dished out some punishment, kind of passively. And an example that springs to mind, and the Doctor, they've played on this a lot, especially in the new stuff, where, like for example, one of the Tennant episodes, the Family of Blood.
I was thinking of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end, he doesn't kill them or destroy them. He actually gives them what they wanted. They wanted to live forever, so he does that. But they're kind of slaves, in this kind of horrible, kind of passively tortured way. And it's kind of the same thing with this, where the Doctor doesn't invoke any kind of rage on the monk, and doesn't take him out. He just cripples his TARDIS, so he can't go anywhere, so he's trapped. And to me, that's more of a punishment.
He's teaching him a lesson, basically, isn't he?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And they've played on that quite a lot throughout the years, haven't they? But especially in some of the newer stuff.
Yeah.
And I really like that ending when he's reading through the note, and you don't even have to see the Doctor anymore. You don't have to see Hartnell, because sometimes with that sort of thing they do a voiceover where they could have had Hartnell reading a letter because the monk's reading it in his head, sort of thing. But you don't have to see or hear him anymore. It's just an awesome end to that story.
I was just trying to remember, actually, if there was a voiceover. There isn't, is there?
No.
He's just reading it, isn't he? Yeah. Because that's the thing. Like you said, you sort of feel his presence there, even though he's not, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, talking of his presence, I mean, Hartnell does go on holiday for episode 2, so we don't see him at all in episode 2. Did you miss him? Did you were you sat there thinking, well, where's the Doctor? I mean, there's a few voice clips played in to suggest he's there, but we don't see him at all.
You don't see him at all, do you? I assumed that it was some of the lost footage. They just didn't include it in the second episode. I assumed that some of it was lost with him in it.
No. He was on holiday. He actually was on holiday, so they pre-recorded a couple of sound clips and played him into the studio.
He just went on holiday. I love it.
Yeah. I was just going to say, it's weird to think that, but I suppose they do that a little bit in the new series when they have a Doctor Light episode, don't they? They give them a, lighter script. So I suppose it's the same as that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. But did you find? Yeah. Did it affect your enjoyment not having the Doctor around for that episode? And because he's not in much of episode 3 either, he sort of comes in it halfway through, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Or did you think that Vicky and Stephen carried it?
Yeah, I was going to say I quite liked Maureen O'Brien and Peter Purvis. I thought they work quite well together because they're quite different.
I was surprised actually how well they do work together, because it's their first sort of proper story together, and they gel really well. And Maureen O'Brien's better than I remember, actually, because she never sticks in my mind as being a sort of strong companion. But she's really quite good in this, considering what she's sort of given.
She is good, yeah.
Yeah, it's good chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah, and I like that, because they could have quite easily had two companions who were, Doctor,
copy.
Yeah, sort of fans.
Ian and Barbara.
Yeah. So I like that that Stephen's very much got this cynical nature and is very hard to convince and doesn't really believe.
Yeah.
Until his eyes have laid on. And whereas, Vicky's, because she's been there and done it already, she knows the crack, she knows what's going on. So you've got that kind of black and white, question and answer kind of personalities between them, which is really good. So I didn't really miss the Doctor too much because we had that going on. And
there's a scene at the start with Vicky and the Doctor in the Tardis, which is I absolutely loved it. I love the way this episode starts. The Doctor's very melancholy, isn't he? Do you remember? Yeah. They're having that chat and he's talking about Ian and Barbara leaving, and he even mentioned Susan.
Yeah,
there's a really touching scene between him and Vicky, and they both act it really well. I thought it was a really nice start to the episode, and sort of showed them both in a really good light, you know what I mean? Because Hartnell comes in for a bit of stick sometimes, and I think it's a bit unfair because I really like William Hartnell as the Doctor, and I know he struggles with his lines and stuff sometimes, but even in that scene, he sort of fluffs a few, but I don't think it matters. I think it's just part of the Doctor. I mean, we fluff lines in real life, it's just it's just part of it. But yeah, I think she works really well with Stephen and with Hartnell. I think she's a good in between sort of Barbara and Susan character, because he's sort of quite protective over her, and he's very bossy towards her at the end as well. Well, he's telling her to get out of the Monk's TARDIS, and that sort of reminds me of how he talked to Susan, and so I think she works well, Maureen O'Brien.
Yeah, and I was going to mention actually about Hartnell fluffing his line to her 2 or 3 times when you can just catch it that he's gone to say the wrong word or whatever. But do you know what? I quite like that. I know it sounds very weird, but I quite like that. It's got a very human aspect about it. It's it does show that William Hartnell was was struggling a little bit. And don't get me wrong, I don't like the fact that he was struggling, but I like the fact that they didn't edit it out, that they just kept his performance in there.
Yeah, and actually he's given some really good lines, actually. There's one of the bits I wrote down was when he's looking at the space helmet and Steve is questioning it.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, what do you think it is, a helmet for a cow? It's really sort of snappy. And then there's a bit where he's saying about, to the monk, no more monkery and all this sort of stuff. And he's given some really nice little lines. And I think his rest probably did him well, because in episode 4, he seems to be on the money to me. He seems to be
on fire.
Yeah, he really is, isn't he? Yeah.
Episode 4 was really good.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't take any nonsense in episode 4.
Yeah, I think Hartnell's a bit underrated, actually.
Yeah, and it was nice to go back and look at a Hartnell story, because I think it's very easy to get swept up in the popularity prize for Classic Who, because especially for new fans as well. If you're a new fan coming into Doctor Who and you want to start looking at the classic stuff, and you ask people on Facebook or whatever, say, recommend some classic stories for me, you always get the usual Tom Baker stories and some Peter Davison ones, and maybe a couple of McCoy, or maybe the odd Troughton. But people don't really go back as far. I mean, the only one that people recommend you watch of Hartnell is An Unearthly Child.
Yeah, or the Aztecs sometimes.
Yeah, and people don't really kind of get into his stuff, maybe as much as they should, especially newer fans. But there are some solid gold to be watched in the Hartnell stuff, and like you say, some of the lines that he was given in this one are just so good.
Yeah, and I love it actually when he's trying to get into the monk's Tardis. He says something about how do you get in, with a hammer and chisel or something like that. You know? But the way he delivers it as well is so abrupt, and that's what I love about Hartnell's Doctor, is he can deliver a humorous line and it's still funny, but he delivers it in a very sort of aggressive manner.
Yeah,
it's almost like an old sort of grumpy old school teacher or something.
Very good.
We talked about the violence as well with Hartnell earlier, and because there is a bit where he sort of, there's a couple of bits in Hartnell's era where he's not afraid to knock someone out. I think there's one where he punches someone. I can't remember now, but he's quite a sort of a loose cannon at times. The First Doctor, which again I really like.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool because it shows a side. That's what I mean before about what I said earlier about this era of Doctor Who is. It's experimental in some of its ways. They're still kind of trying to find out, where on what line this Doctor falls with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because obviously we're meeting another Time Lord for the first time in this episode.
Yeah,
but it's never named. They haven't even, that hasn't even entered the show yet. They haven't even mentioned Time Lord at all. So you get the idea that he's from the same planet as the Doctor, but even that's quite sort of new to the show, isn't it? We don't really sort of delve back into his backstory much at this point. But I like that. I mean, we all know he's a Time Lord because of what's come after it, but back then it's probably the first time we would have met somebody else from his planet, which is quite cool. Apart from Susan, obviously, but
yeah, What do you think of the supporting cast in this one? The Saxons and the Vikings, and
I think they're okay. I think they're of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't think they don't give a bad performance. They're not outstanding either, but they're just kind of I think they work fine. Yeah, and they do a reasonable job. Yeah. I do like the woman. Sorry, I do like
Edith.
Edith, Aletha Charlton.
Yes,
no relation as far as I'm aware. But I do like her. And again, I don't know why I keep coming back to faces, but something about her. Again, I like her screen presence, and she's got a look about her which I really like. Yeah,
I thought she was okay. I mean, I completely agree with you about the rest of the cast as well. There was nobody that really stood out and kind of really went for it, because sometimes with some episodes, the supporting cast, you'll have one or two that really kind of go for it.
Yeah.
Either because they want to make a mark for themselves and progress as an actor, or they, just love the character that they've been given in that story. But with the exception of Edith, I think she was okay. She was pretty good. And then the rest of the cast, I think they served their purpose. Put it that way.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Ulf and Sven, the two Vikings that kind of buddy up because they're crapping themselves because they failed their mission from the Viking commander, if you like.
Yeah, I must admit, I always dread a fight scene in the early Doctors because they are so staged. It's not too bad in this one. I mean, it's directed by Dougie Camfield, so it's he's always quite good. But yeah, I always find that as soon as a fight scene's coming up, like between two cavemen or two Vikings or something, in the classic Doctor Who, they do tend to be a bit staged. But yeah, no, it's all right in this one. I think I did find episode 3 dragged a bit. That's the only sort of negative I've got about it, really. Episode 2, even though Doctor's not in it, still sort of moved along at a good pace. Episode 3 seemed to be a little bit too much of wandering around and not much happening. But it's still, once the Doctor comes back into it, the sort of second half, it does pick up.
Yeah.
So it's still overall pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I thought I really enjoyed watching through this one, and it's one of those episodes where, as I was watching it and watching more of Hartnell when he was in it, it kind of unlocks like an extra layer of appreciation for the Hartnell era.
Yeah,
because there are some really good stories there, and like I said, it's a shame that people don't recommend more of his stories. But I quite enjoyed all of these episodes. There wasn't anything other than like you say, the pacing was a little bit slowed down towards the middle, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, overall, yeah, it's nice little sort of. It's quite a sort of easy watch, I think, and it's got a nice little story at the heart of it. And I think the monk's brilliant, makes it very watchable. Peter Butterworth, as does Hartnell when he's with him. So yeah, it's a good little story overall, I think.
Yeah,
I rather enjoyed it. I do find the end, the end bit where their the faces are superimposed over the stars.
Oh, that was weird. Yeah,
That is weird, isn't it? And because I'd forgotten about that. It's been a while since I watched it. So when I watched this yesterday, and that came up, I was thinking, gosh, what's this about?
Yeah.
And I think it's because it was the end of series 2. I think they were just sort of rounding off the series. But it is a very sort of, what's the word? Of the time. I can't think of the word. But it doesn't look dated, but it kind of looks almost psychedelic. I don't know. I kind of like it, but I wasn't quite expecting it and wasn't too sure what it was about.
Yeah, I didn't expect it at all. It was, but it was. I didn't mind that. It was quite cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Review scores.
Yeah,
you're up first this time.
Yeah, it's me first. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I actually think it's a really enjoyable little story. Quite a simple story. It's not too taxing on the brain. Yeah, overall, really, really good. As I say, negative, a little bit slow in the middle, but otherwise, very enjoyable. So 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay, I'm going to give it an 8 as well.
You're in an 8. I thought you might. Yeah. I thought you'd be on the same level as me on this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, mainly for the same reasons, to be honest with you. It was an easy watch. It was enjoyable. I really enjoyed Vicky and Stephen, the play between those two. I really liked Hartnell in this one.
Yeah.
And, just nothing to complain about, put it that way.
And I love the fact we get to see another TARDIS, when they go in the monk's TARDIS. And the fact they actually go in that little door and it's still a little door. When they go, I really like that. Yeah, so I think episode 1 and 4 are just really strong, really, really fun.
Yeah. It was a good one, a good one from the Hartnell classic stuff.
Yeah.
Got a couple of comments in on Facebook. We had Stu Gee. He's put, it's great fun. Love the rapport between the Doctor and the monk. Stephen makes for a refreshing new companion and has a great camaraderie with Vicky. The story is a bit simplistic, but it's full of charm. Very watchable.
Yes, yeah. Spot on.
Yeah, I agree with that. Tom Dix. At long last, you are receiving all my favourite First Doctor story. What I love about this story is how Hartnell seems to have matured into the role. I love the dynamic between Stephen and Vicky and the Doctor. The monk has to be the best part of the story, though. He is just so meddling, mind the pun. I wish we'd see more of him up against one. All in all, a nice simplistic story that worked effectively. 8 out of 10.
All right, so he's on board. Yeah, that's good.
He's on board. That was it for Facebook. Did you have anything on the Geeks Handbag?
Yeah, I had a few, yeah. Nick Riches, he said this is probably the best Hartnell story. He loves it. It is sharp, well-written, beautifully acted. To be honest, the story has stood the test of time, and it's as good as anything new Who has to offer.
Cool.
So that's good. Jamie Robertson, an atmospheric classic, far and away my favourite 60s story. Oh, right, wow. So that's good, yeah.
Cool.
Who's this guy? Andy Frankham-Allen. Sounds familiar.
That guy? Mr. Andy.
Sounds familiar. He says, watched this only last week. Hello, Andy, by the way. It still holds up very well, and it's nice to see the instant chemistry between Vicky and newcomer Stephen. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
This is probably the last story to be made before everything started to really fall down behind the scenes, with the ratings just falling and falling. Took them over a year to find their feet again. Yeah, it's a strange one, because... the next series of Verity leaves and all that, so it does start to change a bit.
Yeah.
So I know what he means.
Yeah.
Will Lloyd.
Hi,
competition
Will.
Yeah. Competition winner. A great pseudo-historical that goes along at a nice pace and introduces Peter Butterworth, his portrayal of the superb meddling monk, who is another villain I'd like to see return. Brilliant story, he says. I agree with that. Sean Hughes.
Hi,
excellent
Sean.
Story. Probably my favourite Hartnell episode. And finally, Kai McNamee. He says, hi Kai, he says, a classic 60s story, an engaging story, and an interesting historical setting. Hartnell was on top form with a good mixture of charm and seriousness, and Peter Butterworth is a good sparring partner for the Doctor. The supporting cast do a good job, and the writing is especially entertaining and humorous. I'd recommend this for anyone wanting to sample the black and white era. 9 out of 10.
Oh, cool. A 9.
A 9 from Kai.
Nice
Yeah, I
one,
think he's
Kai.
got a good point there. If you were sort of saying to someone about dipping into the black and white, it might be a good one to recommend because it is quite a fun little story. It has got some really nice humour in it as well, I agree.
Yeah. Cool. So the Time Meddler, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, the meddling monk. Ooh.
meddling monk,
He is a character I'd love to see return. I don't know who would play him though, but he would be great to have him come back. He did appear. I was looking at this on Wikipedia. He does crop up in another story, but I believe, it's not one I've seen, and I believe it's one that may be lost because he makes an appearance in the Dalek Master Plan, which I think there's only a couple of episodes exist in the archives, and I don't know if he's in any of the ones that exist. So I'd be really interested to know that because I would love to see more of him. But as far as I'm aware, he's part of the missing chunk. But if somebody out there knows, then please do let us know because I would love to see more of the monk and the First Doctor. And I love the fact he crops up again. Although I get the idea it may have just sort of been for a little cameo, but I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good character. So, Time Meddler, thank you very much for your sending in your thoughts and opinions on that one. Next week, we're doing one of your faves, mate.
Oh, what's next week? I forgot to look.
Planet of the Dead.
Oh, no. Is it?
It is.
Oh.
It's come round to that time.
Well, look, it'll be good for me to rewatch this because I've only ever watched it once, and that was when it went out, and I didn't enjoy it. But that's not to say I won't enjoy it on a rewatch because this happened with Midnight. I hated that when it went out, and I loved it on the second watch. So, is it Midnight? Yeah, the one where they're all trapped? Yeah.
You hated it?
I thought it was like an episode of EastEnders, all shouting. No, I didn't get into it. Second time I watched it, absolutely loved it. Couldn't believe I was watching the same episode. So maybe the same will happen with this one. We'll find out next week, but I doubt it.
We doubt it. Okay.
Well, it could. You never know. It could, but I don't have great memories of this one.
Okay, so that'll be a good one then.
It will be good. Yeah.
Cool. So I think we're going to wrap on that for 38.
Okay.
Thank you very much for joining us for this week. We hope you guys have enjoyed our Q&A. You know a little bit more about us. Yeah. It's good fun. And thank you. So lots of thank yous. So thank you for sending in your questions for the Q&A. Thank you for sending in your thoughts and opinions for the review. And thank you just for joining us and listening.
Yeah.
So next week, Planet of the Dead, we'll put something on Facebook with plenty of time, we promise.
Yeah.
So you've got plenty of time to give us your thoughts on that. So this is Planet of the Dead. I'm pretty sure that you and I have spoken a little bit about this before, and I kind of know your feelings, but yes, it'll be a good one to chew the fat on.
Oh, it will. And as I said, I definitely need to give it a rewatch. So I'm actually looking forward to rewatching this one. I've only ever watched it once, so it's definitely due a review.
It's due a rewatch.
Yeah, definitely.
Okie dokie. And next week, we're also going to go through just more news, more of the same. So be sure to join us every Friday, the Big Blue Box Podcast. Jump over to the website, bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to this episode if you want to listen to it again. Listen to all the previous episodes. And you can also jump onto Twitter and Facebook from the links on there. Be sure to check out Adam's YouTube channel, The Geek's Handbag. Plenty of good stuff on there.
Yep, got a couple of new vids on the way. I've got one coming out Saturday and another one probably the following Saturday. So yeah, got some good stuff on the way.
Yay. Good stuff. So thank you once again. We will see you next time. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And until then, allons-y!